Hi, JJ here from 22 Explosive Hits. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Here's an interview that I did with a YouTube channel, guys, called the $1 Million Peddlers. And what they are is the two of them, one's Mr. Magazine and the other is Papergoy, and they are Amazon and eBay dealers. Each of them has like hundreds of thousands of listings out there, and it kind of what I put it out there is they kind of give us a perspective of what it's like on the dealer side when you actually like buy a record or you buy a Blu-ray used from eBay, Amazon, buy a collectible, buy toys. I know that a lot of people are into that as well. This interview kind of gives you the other perspective, and just to kind of promote them up, the $1 Million Peddlers have a live show every Wednesday night. That's really fascinating to watch. If you'd like to catch it, I'll put a link to their channel below, as well as on Saturdays they post what they've sold, and they post other videos throughout the week. So if you really enjoy this interview and you want to hear more about them, the $1 Million Peddlers are listed below. Hope you enjoy the interview. I put it out there in its entirety. I was going to edit it up, but I kind of like the flow of the conversation. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a wonderful day. And let's remember to bring each other up rather than bring each other down. Have a good day.
I think we started together 22 years ago on eBay, maybe 12 years ago on Amazon. I've amassed pretty much a 500,000 items between eBay and Amazon that are listed. I've probably got another 500,000 in inventory that's not listed. My warehouse is 20,000 square feet. I'm up to 15 employees right now. So, we're plugging away pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm Papergoy. I have a day job. So I do this over here on the side. Between eBay and Amazon, I have about 40,000 listings. And I would guess I've got probably about another 50,000 unlisted items. As the name Papergoy would tell you, well, I'm Goyam. But also, I do a lot of stuff with paper. So I do things with books. I do things with magazines, brochures, pamphlets, all that kind of thing. As I like to tell people, if it's made out of paper, I sell it, with the exception being stamps, only because I don't know stamps as a whole world unto itself. So those I don't touch. Not that I, of course, don't have piles of them in the garage as well.
So the way so that, how do you guys obtain your inventory then? Mainly, just people just dropping this stuff off, or how do you get it?
Yeah, I mean, at first it started with my retail store. I was known, or my father. We just, bought volume of whatever you had. As long as we could sell it online, we'd buy pretty much anything. And then it turned into specializing into records, comic books. We did sports cards forever, things like that, toys. And then when I bought that 18-wheeler of magazines, it kind of put me in the magazine direction.
Yep. And I go the other route. And actually, it's kind of funny because we have almost no overlap whatsoever in our sources. Occasionally he'll throw somebody my way that calls his store that's got something that I specialize in, or occasionally I'll find somebody that's got a collection of stuff that I don't want or too big for me, and I'll throw it his way. But otherwise, we basically get things completely differently. I tend to go the estate sale, flea market route. And, I've got a lot of the dealers locally that deal at those places that know me as well. So they contact me directly a lot of times. Hey, I picked this up. You interested? And I meet them at a antique mall or something like that and pick it up from them.
So you have all these items. I'm just curious. How you have all these items. I mean, you have a warehouse. You have 40,000 listings. You say, how do you keep track of all that? I know you run it out of your house, and then you do a warehouse. How do you guys keep track of all this when this stuff comes in? Because I will say, from my experience with you guys, because I've bought stuff, that it's seamless to me as a buyer that I don't know that you have tons of stuff. But then again, I do run into it on just your awareness. A lot of times on Discogs, when I buy records, they'll suddenly go, oh, you'll see they have like 20,000 records for sale on Discogs, and then they can't find your record when you actually get down to the nitty gritty. Oh, I might have sold it, or I have no idea where it is. Yeah, I have one sale pending like that right now. How do you keep track of it all?
Yeah, that does happen to us. Unfortunately, years ago, back in 2009, 2010, we really didn't know how we would be growing. So we had no game plan. So, we sorted records alphabetically. We sorted sports cards and comics alphabetically. And then, after a year or two, as we're growing, it's like, well, we can't just keep resorting things over and over again to keep the A's with the A's. Then we started a date code system. Every lister that, has their own niche. Basically, it's the date plus their initials, or if it's eBay or Amazon, we put an E or an A on it. If it's a toy, we'll put a T. So now, from everything 2011 to present, and we have, I don't know how many, 30,000 banker boxes at the warehouse, whatever it is, or 50,000, I think, something like that. But anyways, it's all in order by, records are in order from 2011 to present and so forth.
And then you put on the outside of the box, you put what the
Yeah,
date code
right.
is, so that way he can find it quickly.
So yeah, every item, that's sold has a date code on the order sheet as well as the box itself. And, and our system isn't perfect by any means. We're probably at 98%. So every 100 items or 200 items we sell, there's a few that are going to be missing just because their inventories got moved over the years. And unfortunately, we use this company called Celebrate to move our eBay and Amazon items over to our website. It's kind of like double listed some things. So we will sell out of some things, without realizing it.
And I tend to use on eBay, I tend to use the custom SKU line, and then I'll put down what box number it's in. And I've got pretty simple system, something like E23 is eBay box 23, EB23 would be eBay book 23, because I try to keep the books together. And I also generally use all of the banker boxes. And I also use, for a lot of the brochures and pamphlets, I use comic boxes. So I've got those sitting down, and I actually spent the money. I don't know if you've ever seen them or not, but they're the system with the hard outer shell on the boxes. So I can stack 5 high without any damage to the bottom box. And then you can pull the boxes out all the way up. So it actually works, really, really well that way. So they're 5 high and, I don't know, 10 across, something like that. So I've got 50 comic boxes right there that I can look and go, oh, it's in C7, comic 7, and just pull it right out and find it within there. Occasionally something or other will end up in the wrong box. Like, I'll put it in E13 when it should have been EB13 occasionally, but most of the time you can end up finding it that way, just because you kind of know what you did when, oh, gee, that was a book. Why did I put it in E13? But I would say probably maybe one item every 2 months I can't find. Maybe not even that often. Maybe about one every 3 or 4 months I can't find.
Nice. So, question. I'm going to go back to this record. You gave me a gem, by the way, here, Mr. Magazine. I don't think you may not have realized. I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, darn it.
Somebody else gave you that gem.
I framed it on my wall. But anyways, there's a Atari ad inside this thing for 1982 Atari 2600 games, and then also different KTEL records. I mean, that was the one that caught my eye right away. So you understand from my perspective, and you watch my videos. I made my mom buy this with my allowance. I put up quarters for this record back in the day. I made my mom buy it for allowance, and that's a lot of my KTEL stuff that I do. It's nostalgia. I know stuff ain't worth, hill of beans, but what I found from looking at stuff is like, for instance, see an example here. But anyways, they may have a record after hours, and then they have Canadian after hours. So there's 2 different after hours.
Oh, wow.
They had a distributor in Manitoba and then a distributor in Minneapolis. So as I started digging more into KTEL, I'm like, this is exciting stuff. So as you see my background, I named my channel after the record that was the same year of my birth, which is 22 explosive hits. But anyways, the reason I mentioned that is, and I also found this in a Star Wars record that I bought from another dealer. He had the actual ad in there for T-shirts. It was from 1977, and the actual ad was inside of there. And I just got a Star Trek record the other day with an actual ad from the Milwaukee Journal of Star Trek 2. The person must have been excited, and he stuck it in the record. So the question I have is that buyer expectation. I think looking back on it, it made me reflect buyer expectation. I ordered Boba Fett out of my Kenner little things that my mom cut out for me back in the day.
Sure.
It was like 4 to 6 weeks for delivery, maybe 10 to 12.
Right.
And I'm on the KTEL ads that I have a catalog somewhere, one of my power records I found as well. And it says, 4 to 6 weeks for standard delivery. So how do you deal with these buyer expectations? How do you create, when I sold cars, I was always told, you want to make that delivery experience, as good as possible. How do you guys get around that type of stuff? Because that's changed over time, obviously. We went from 4 to 6 weeks to now. I wanted to do a segment on my show in this silent movie I couldn't find. And I was like, oh, I want that like tomorrow, but it won't come till Tuesday. And I'm disappointed. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's definitely harder nowadays than in the past. And people, they want to buy an item and get tracking 2 minutes later and see that it's in the post office hands. And it's not going to happen, And plus, a lot of them don't even realize how they can save us our time by just going on the item and clicking on the tracking. So a lot of times, hey, what's the tracking number? And really, they're one step away from it already. But it's hard. We're never going to make everyone happy. and especially record buyers, I don't think they realize, whether it's eBay or Amazon, that we don't, especially the volume we do not play grade. There's no way we can play every record front and back of every song that we sell. I mean,
Right.
some people actually think that we should be doing that, and they get upset. And you try to explain to them, I don't want to be rude, but we do a visual grade and we're 99% successful when we grade it visually, and yeah, there's some people think they're going to get a mint record if we say it's like new or near mint, and there might be a little scratch on it, and most people accept that, and other people, they're collectors, and eBay's more so with the collectors than Amazon, but they want their things the way they expect it, and you're just not going to make everyone happy.
See, and it's funny because as he was talking, I was reflecting. I very rarely have anybody upset or worried about delivery or anything at all like that. Leave out the occasions where you go on the tracking, and it was picked up by the post office on May 1st and now it's May 23rd. Okay, yes, that's obviously a case where it's lost in the mail somewhere, and I don't blame them one bit for being upset. But beyond that, I ship out 2 to 3 times a week, having the day job. But I think one of the things is what I sell versus what Mr. Magazine sells. We do have some overlap with magazines and that kind of thing. But I think that most of what I end up selling tends to be things that are a lot more niche. And I think a lot of times if somebody's buying, like for instance, this morning I listed some magazines from 1885. If they're buying a magazine from 1885, they don't need it yesterday. They don't have the expectation of getting it yesterday, as opposed to, and they're probably not giving it as a gift, because that's one of the big things as well is, oh, I want to give this as a gift. Can you overnight it? Can you do this? Generally speaking, that nobody's buying the things that I have for that reason. So I think that there's a lot more latitude for the things that I sell versus what he sells. Probably a different demographic is buying an 1885 magazine versus buying a hot new card or a hot new Star Wars toy. So I think that could be a big difference, is just who our customer base is.
Yeah, definitely.
So now's your opportunity. What are some, I mean, you don't have to give names, I'm not asking that, but what are some interesting buying stories that you could share? I know I've heard them on the live shows, but now it's my chance to kind of edit it in my own video and put it out there, because right now you're facing a different audience, so you realize that is that
Sure.
you're now facing the violent community, and it's kind of, I've been working and trying to bridge that gap. So now I want to hear, what are some interesting buying stories that you guys have that I'd like to hear?
Well, I can think of one right offhand, which we did do on the video way back when. I mentioned it a couple of different times in the video. I got a phone call out of the blue one day. It was a Saturday afternoon from a guy, and he says, "Hey, I got your business card. I got a bunch of stuff. You interested? I can run it right by. It's magazine, stuff like that." I said, "Yeah, no problem." Guy shows up. He says, I just cleaned out wherever he got it from, whatever house he had cleaned out. He said, "Yeah, we've dealt before. Now, I've never seen this gentleman before in my life." But I'm like, "Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, good." He goes, "Yeah, I got your business card." I said, "That's great." He said, $200, takes it all. I said, "Oh, great." Carries it all in. I've never seen the guy since then. No idea who he is to this day. But, it ended up being, I probably sold a couple of $1,000s worth of stuff out of it just for having the business card out there in circulation. And like I said, I don't know who the gentleman is, and I've never seen him before or since, but that was just one of those fortuitous situations there. And that's where getting the business card passed out, you just never know who's going to come across it.
Yeah. So I got a couple people around the country that they'll always check Craigslist and stuff for, like, sometimes local scores, but they'll check other surrounding states and so forth. And they'll drive to it, and I'll either buy it from them or pay them a fee to do it for me. And one of these guys, Aaron, you remember this story? Up in Connecticut. So it was a magazine deal. So we just stay overnight, drive to Connecticut, which is, I forgot, it must have been close to 12 hours, right, from Rochester?
Yeah.
So we just had the address. So by the time we get there, it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So it's dark. We're going down this winding road. It turns into a dirt road. We have to back up. So it's something like out of a horror movie, like Friday the 13th or something. So we finally get there. There's no phone service. We get there, and these guys are strapped with guns in their vests. They got a counting machine, and they got the little the pen for the fake bills. They're all ready for us. So we're a little nervous. We did the deal. They checked off every bill I gave them. We loaded up the minivan. We ran out of room. For like, I don't give a crap. Let's just get out of here. So that was quite an experience. It was a lot longer and worse than that, like out of a scary movie, but we made it happen.
When I got one more that we actually shared together. It was fashion collectibles down in New York City.
Oh yeah.
And so we ended up, we flew down into New York City. Well, we kind of knew what the deal was going to be beforehand. So we contacted a mutual friend of ours. We refer to him occasionally on the channel as Mysterious Benefactor. We contacted him and we had Staples deliver a whole bunch of boxes to him. Well, we fly in and we have a U-Haul rental all set up in New York City. We go there a little bit early, figuring out whatever. Oh yeah, we're all set for you. We're all set for you. They let us go. We go driving up to my buddy's apartment. So we were down on the lower west side. We had to drive up to the upper west side to my buddy's apartment and go there. Well, he's running way behind. I mean, way behind. So now we got to talk our way past his doorman, which was a lot of fun. And the guy goes, I don't know who you are. I go, what do you mean you don't know who I am? I saw you 3 months ago when I was down here visiting Tony. So then he ended up getting Tony on the phone and was grilling him about who Tony was till finally he was sure that we were talking to, the owner of the apartment. So then, we had the okay to go up there. So we had to go up and get all the boxes out of there in order to even begin to do the deal. But it was a common elevator. So here I am trying to bring all these boxes down on a common elevator as families with their kids and everything around the elevator as well. Finally get it all down, get the truck loaded up. We go driving down, trying to find this guy's apartment where he lives at. He lived down over by, where was Soho? I think he lived down that way.
Okay.
This little street with about, it was a quarter of a mile long street, absolutely no parking whatsoever on it.
Totally familiar.
We had to park over on the Bowery.
Oh, geez.
So we're parked over on the Bowery. We run back over and finally get up to the guy's apartment, talking to him. Well, meanwhile, the only parking we found was meter. So every 2 hours, we had to run back and throw money in the meter. And meanwhile, so now we've got to grab all the boxes and the cart. And I don't know if you've ever tried to carry boxes and carts around New York City streets.
I have.
It's not a lot of fun to start with. So we finally get back up to his place. Well, we had made the deal already, but he still wanted to sell the stuff to us. So it was his collection. So we're, understanding, but he's telling us about how great all these different magazines are. And meanwhile, we're watching the clock going, we got to get down and get some more meter. We got to get money in the meter.
We had to build all the banker boxes.
Then we had to build all the banker boxes.
150.
Oh, geez.
150 of them. And it takes about a minute per box. So that took 2.5 hours. Now, granted, it didn't take, because we had multiple people building them, but it still was an hour just building boxes.
Oh, wow.
Pack everything in. And then
pouring rain.
Pouring rain. Yeah, it was pouring rain as well. So then we had to bring it all down. Well, luckily a spot opened in front of the building. So he was able to park in the spot. And meanwhile, we're running all these boxes down. But again, it's an elevator shared with families and he lived on the 10th floor. So we're trying to bring these dollies down and we got yelled at by the doorman. No, you cannot use the front entrance. So we had to go down to the parking garage. And so we're bringing the things up the parking garage. The only thing was the angle of that parking garage ramp. And of course, you got to watch for cars coming down and everything. You got the angle of it where you're pushing it up and it is hard as heck. And you would hit one lip and then it was easy. So it was all the way up. So it wound up, we could get.
Oh, that was rough.
How many boxes on a 5? Was it?
I think 5.
5. So it was 30 trips, 2 of us running it. So it was 15 trips back and forth, up and down, just to get it all loaded up on there. So then we go to leave. And of course, you got to go through, is it the Holland Tunnel down over there?
Yeah.
We ended up going out into Jersey City, having to go home that way. And I don't know, there's construction going on over in Jersey City and everything. So then we ended up going through the Poconos. And I'm very surprised the truck made it because I would not want to run the truck after us because
we originally, it was a smaller truck and it fit the 150 boxes barely. But for some reason, I knew the weight was going to be over. So I took a picture of the wheel well with the space between there was probably 3-4 inches of good space beforehand. Then I took a picture afterwards. It was down to like this. It was like grinding.
Yeah. So we're going through the Poconos with this truck and that thing was screaming. We're like, oh boy, are we going to make it home? Are we going to make it home? We finally made it home though on that one. But that was one of those.
That was a tough one.
You just never know what you're going to get into. And I'm going to say Manhattan deals are difficult because of all those different reasons.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. On a side note, for locally story, somewhere along that route, people in my town actually take pictures themselves at that one rest stop. They have a Vince Lombardi rest stop in New Jersey, and everybody takes pictures over there, and they send him back home here because he's a hometown hero here in Wisconsin.
Right, right.
You can't talk bad about that guy in this town.
No.
So that's one. I mean, as far as like buying goes too, as far as that's buying stuff, but like dealing with customers, what are some really interesting stories you have of dealing with customers, making you wait, or go ahead and I want to hear it. What kinds of things you have to, you don't have to get specific names, but what types of stuff do you have to deal with when it comes to dealing with? I mean, I know I was difficult to deal with when I bought that record, but I want to hear it. I think it's important for the community to hear this.
Yeah, times definitely changing. I think it was easier buying from people 10, 15, 20 years ago. eBay wasn't as popular as it is now. And, people didn't want to do the work. And, now if they have a $50 record or $100 sports card, they'll try and sell it on eBay instead of to me or someone, or they think they can get closer to that retail price, even by selling to me. And they don't understand what goes into buying an item and what your expenses really are, and, some people understand it, other people don't get it. And, they either walk or they sell to me. But, as far as storage, some people get attached to their items. And I had, one gentleman, he was elderly, and he used to build models when he was younger, and he had 300 or 400 airplane models. Most of them were sealed, and I'd move them from one room to the other if I was loading them, and without me seeing, he'd take one back because he was like very attached to them, even though he couldn't. He had something going on where his hands were shaking, Parkinson's or something, and he couldn't build them anyways. But he was just so attached. I said, I'll tell you what, just pick 10 of your favorite models. Instead of me leaving every time I left, he'd take one. I go, just take your 10 favorite. But people get attached to their stuff, and even nowadays more so than ever, they come in with a price in mind, but they don't want to tell me that price. And for whatever reason, they think dealers are going to shoot way over their price, and it never happens. So, just I tell them, I go, hey, if you had your car and you're going to sell your car on Craigslist, you got to have a price for it. So just tell me what you're looking to get out of the stuff. And some people get upset, and then you throw them a price and it's less than what they thought, like usual. But that's business. So
well, I think one of the things with that as well. And I just totally lost my train of thought. I just had it too.
No, you'll get it back.
You can edit this all out, so no worries. No, it was about one of the big things as far as buying. Now, I don't have this problem because, again, I buy from other sources. I buy from dealers essentially,
right?
And I swear by buying from a dealer because they have the price, they make the price, and I decide whether it's a good price or not. And I can always walk if the price is too high on things. But I think that with a lot of people, they don't quite understand how eBay works as far as looking up comps. So they'll go and they'll list, or they'll take a look at something listed. This is selling for $100 on eBay. Somebody's asking $100 for it. And yes, just use a record example. Yes, you have Fleetwood Mac Rumors. They have a sealed first. There's a little bit of a difference between that and what you've got over here, but you've got to nicely explain that to people as well. Right. And you got to be willing to walk away in those cases. One thing, this is something that I've never understood whatsoever, and I have a lot of difficulty buying from somebody in this instance, just because of this position that I'm put in at this point. You come to me with a book and you tell me, this is an Ernest Hemingway first, and it's worth $500. And I take a look at it and I say, I'm sorry, it's not a first. It's a book club edition. It does not have the price on the flap. So it's not a first edition. And furthermore, if you look in the back, it's got the embossed dot on the back cover.
Right.
It's a book club edition. It's not a first edition. It's probably worth $40 to $50. It is an early Hemingway, et cetera, but it's probably a $40 to $50 book. I'm sorry. Well, in their head, it was a first edition and it's worth $400. They don't know me from Adam. I'm telling them this. Now I'm backing it up. I'm showing them, but they don't know books. Well, then they say, what do you give me for it? You give me $20? And I feel really bad even buying them off them at that point, because even though $20 is a very fair price, I don't want them going back to their friends and going, yeah, Papergoy gave me $20 for that, which could be a very, very fair price. And then them saying, oh, no, that was a first. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then they think that I ripped them off. So in instances like that, I'll tell them, and this isn't with dealers because dealers should know their things. This is with regular people that have got things to sell. Right. At that point, I tell them, You do your own research. This is what it's worth. I'm really not interested in it, but hopefully that can help you, because I would rather walk away from the deal than have somebody think that I didn't do them right. Because again, they've been told all along that it's a first print. It's not, but let them do their research. I'll show them why it's not, and then I'll leave them on their own, rather than buying it from them and having them not feel right about making the sale to me.
That's not, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, recently I just it's kind of interesting. The guy from Funky Moose Records called me on the phone, and I know you guys are comic guys, so I can use this reference, but I feel like Xavier going in to help out a mutant that's like not placed right, because this guy had all these K-Tells he wanted to sell, but Funky Moose had no clue how to deal with this guy. And I just want to say I use a lot of the advice I watched on your channel, because I said he showed me all his pictures. You only deal with me on Facebook. Show me all his stuff, and I'm just like, all right, I'm doing this sight unseen. It's going to cost a boatload for me to ship this to me because you're in Canada. I go, $20 Canadian for 20 records. What do you want? And he's like, okay. I'm like, all right, just made him an offer. And he said I found out that he just wanted to get rid of them. I mean, that's all he wanted to do. And I think you guys probably find that out a lot too. They just want to, they just want to get rid of it. And they want what they could.
Well, the biggest thing, even today, I bought a collection. The guy was 85 years old, smoking a cigar, and he's like, "I'm giving you a great deal. My wife wants them out." Like, that's 9 out of 10 times the girlfriend, the fiance, the wife, they want the crap out of the house, and they don't care what the husband or boyfriend gets for it. They just want it out, and they're liquidating. That's it. And sometimes you get some good deals that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know the feeling is that I just got back into physical media, and a lot of my collection is now digitally on my servers. I'm in IT, so it's all digitally on my servers, because I ran out of space, because I have 2 girls. I have one 17, one 18, and my office upstairs, they were on bunk beds, and then I got moved down here. And so that's kind of, I understand that. I didn't care at that point to get rid of some of that stuff I had around, just get it out, get it out the door. How do you guys deal with the shipping thing? Because I know I speak from experience, because not only did I buy an eBay, but we've had tons of baby clothes, and my wife and I sold a lot baby clothes. I mean, it's still funny when I go through pictures of the kids when they're little, I still find lots of these baby pictures of my wife took pictures in those spreadsheets used to submit to eBay to do that stuff. How do you guys deal with that focus that I only ship on Wednesdays and Fridays, and how the buyers accept that? Or are they not accepting of that, or how does that work?
Well, I do it every day at the warehouse except Sunday. And even some holidays will come in just because they know I'm shipping out 300-400 items, and if they miss a day, it's going to be 600 or 800 the next day. So don't make special arrangements usually to get my stuff every day before 4 or 5 o'clock. The problem is, since COVID and the craze before the holiday season last year, they were so far behind. They weren't scanning items, which was a complete nightmare for months. So they take thousands of items every week, and they wouldn't scan them at all. And then, where's the tracking? You didn't ship it yet, and you got to explain that to hundreds of people. They're getting a little better. So what we do now is anything over like $50, $100, we have a scan box and said, you have to scan these no matter what right now. Because a lot of times the boss over there was telling them, just get it on the truck, and if we have time to scan them, we'll scan them. If not, when they get moved to the next station, they can scan them, and it's total chaos, really. But they're doing better for us now. But yeah, we ship every day as best we can.
Yeah, and again, given the items that I have, now obviously if somebody needs something shipped out immediately, I can make that happen. It's not that I'm incapable of getting something shipped out. It's just I just don't do it within my daily schedule, other than like 3 times a week, something like that. Basically, when I'm going by to see Mr. Magazine, or he comes by over here, like I've got a small pile of things to go out today, that because he's here, he's going to take back to the warehouse and ship out. Luckily, I don't have to go to the post office to drop the stuff off, and neither does he. They pick it up over at his place, and I can drop it off over there. And I think we've all had the situations where I need this really fast, and I've got no problem at all making that happen. My only preference would be that if you do have a special need on that, you contact me prior to purchasing it, because he's got the 15 employees. I don't. Now, I haven't been doing anything during the pandemic, but if you need something or other, I need this by Tuesday, and you contact me tomorrow, well, maybe I'm out of town for the weekend, kind of deal, with the long holiday weekend and all that sort of thing. So it's always better to check in advance if you do have a special thing and I need it right away. The only people that really ever need things quickly from me are, believe it or not, various prop houses. They'll purchase a lot of the stuff that I have because they'll be using it in movies and TV shows.
Oh, wow.
But they'll contact me, and I don't know if they don't get notice of what the scenes are going to be until the last minute or what it is, but you'll get these things where, well, they'll say, today I do need this by Tuesday. Can you get this FedEx? You can use our account, overnight it. We don't care. We need to have it type deal. Luckily, about half of those things are in New York City. The other half are in California. Those I do have to use the FedEx and all that stuff. But a New York City one contacted me today. I can get it to them by Tuesday just by sending it out priority mail.
So I have to ask then, I mean, have you seen your stuff then in television or things you could talk about? You might have seen your stuff in?
I haven't ever actually seen it, but every time they buy it, I Google the TV show and I go, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But then I never get around to watching it.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, the props, they're really, I mean, those guys are amazing how they do that with the props and everything like that for television shows, and how they make things authentic, and they find stuff and they really research whatever to try to get what they need for that particular prop in that particular scene. And what's amazing about it, they just need it for that one shot, they pay for it, then they pay off it. They don't need it again,
Right. And that's something other than if anybody's watching us who is in the prop industry, I've often thought, what they should do is, I think they're leaving a boatload of money on the table. Now I know that they don't care because, whatever, but if they sat there and they offed all that stuff back over to somebody like me with a little certificate saying it was used in, I could sit there and pay them probably what they paid for the stuff and throw the certificate on that it was used in the TV show. We probably could make even more. Yeah. So
I bet.
Pay me $20 for a magazine and we could resell it for $45.
Exactly. That is totally true. But yeah, I interned on films when I was in college. Yeah, and they don't care. They just want to get it in the scene as fast as possible, get it out and ship it out the door. So now let's talk in an area that I know is sensitive for you guys, because I've listened to your channel, watched it, and everything else. Offers. And I get this because I grew up in the car business, so I know offers. I know taking this up back to the manager, doing all that stuff. So I'm well aware of that. So making offers, let's discuss this. What do you guys fair? What's fair? What's reasonable? Wanting people trying to steal stuff from you, or do you feel that way at least? But everybody feels like they got a good deal. How do you handle the offer system, especially on eBay?
Well, I always offer to throw in some free undercoating.
Little Fargo joke there. I like that.
I think we both feel the same way as far as offers go. Like we both do auctions first as far as eBay is. And then I put my items in the store. Everything goes in the store if it doesn't sell. And I usually jack the price up a little bit, $3, $4, $5, because I know people are going to make that 50% offer, which sometimes I take, but it annoys me, the fact that they assume I'm going to take anything at 50%. So, a couple of items, if you're going to spend a little bit of money with me, and some offers are 75% of what I'm asking. Couple are cheaper, I might average it out. But then you got guys that'll make 100 offers of $3, $4, $5 on $10 or $20 items, and I just don't have the time. I mean, to sit there and counter back when I know we're not even close. So it gets a little frustrating. But most of my regulars, they know where I'm at, and I don't like to sell myself too cheaply and like go too low. So I want to be at $10 or $12, and they kind of know that. So it works for me with the 250,000 items on eBay. I have to have the offers. If not, I'd be dead in the water probably.
And it's actually funny you asked that, because we film our new episodes every weekend, the studio ones, every Saturday or Sunday. We're not doing it this weekend because Random Neighborhood Kid's out of town, but we'll be doing it for anybody who's never watched our channel. He's our IT department, just some random kid we found in the neighborhood.
Yeah, well.
So we're going to be shooting it in 2 weeks. We're going to do probably 6 videos at that point. And what happens is during the week or weeks leading up to it, we come up with ideas for different videos. And I will send him a quick email and I'll say, print out, and I write down a quick little idea. And actually, one of the things we're going to be talking about at the next shows that we do is about negotiating and how he and I negotiate completely differently. I kind of look at it the same way on the selling end of things. I'm not a haggler by nature. It's just, I kind of know what's fair, and occasionally I'll come back at you with an offer, but more often than not, and it's the same way when I'm buying, more often than not, if it's a fair deal, I will take it. And I know a lot of people say, especially on the buying end, well, try to beat them down a dollar or two because it adds up. If it's a $25 item and you want $2 for it, I'm going to beat you up and get you down to $1. I'd rather just pay you $2. It's easier for both of us, and I'm on my way. I'm still making good money on it. Well, I'm the same way on the selling side of things. I'm asking $25 on it. Don't come in with an offer of $2, especially because I offer free shipping.
Right.
And like I had mentioned on the live show, the one gentleman made me an offer that essentially was minus $1 plus $4 shipping, because he offered me $3 an item with free shipping. We're never going to meet on a deal like that. We're just not going to do it, because I'm asking 30, you're offering me 3. That to me is a waste of all of our times, because what am I going to do? I'm going to come back at 27. You're going to come back at 5. I'm going to come back at 25. Okay, maybe you're willing to pay 18. Just offer me 18. I'll take the 18 if that's a fair price to me. I'm not going to nickel and dime you and ask for 19 or 18.50 or anything all like that. I'd rather just, my time is valuable. I've got the day job. I'm doing this as well. I just want to move the product if we can get a fair price, and I don't want to go back and forth for your 5 offers and my 5 counter offers. It just seems like a big waste of time when we're just going to meet somewhere in the middle anyway. The other quick thing for anybody who does shop me, Papergoy on eBay, is I use the cents as the year. So for example, something I'm listing today might be $24.21. I am a lot more willing to take an offer on something if it's priced at $18.12, because it's been sitting there for 9 years. I want it gone at that point. I'm more than, you offer me $8 on it, bye, it's gone. Whereas if you offer me $8 on something that I just listed, I'm not going to take that offer. So I kind of, and I do tell people that as well when they make me the offers. I say, hey, look at my older items. Those I'm much more willing to deal on than something I just listed it yesterday. Why am I taking 40% on it?
Right.
And I think that's a fair thing. Now it's been listed for 9 years. I'll take 35%. I want it out of my house.
Yeah, I just made a joke with the guy from Funky Moose. It's I actually rattled off one of my dad's old sayings to him, and they come out of it. I grew up with it. My dad, he's helping me. He's kind of, because I have records on order with him at Funky Moose right now. I'm buying some new stuff. He's waiting to come in for the factory. He keeps a box for me, and then as that box fills up, then he ships, because individual ships to Canada are, they'll break the bank. So so that's where that deal from just way. He said I didn't understand Canada either. He's like JJ, that's 2 days away from me. That place where we get it from. Oh, so the records came to him, and now he's going to ship them and work with them. And I told him when I was doing the deal, I said, I know you want to help me out, and I know you want to do that. But I joked with them and I said, I do understand, Mark, that there's not a cross on your house. So in other words, you're there to make money. You're not a nonprofit organization, and you're there to actually make some bucks. I want to see you get something in the deal, and I want to see me get something in the deal, and that we win-win. And that's how it works. I remember my father used to always say, like, he used to drive me nuts when we sold cars on the lot, because, I helped him sell, and, he would send me back with the paper and go back and forth. And I'd be like, Dad, why are we doing all this? I mean, can we just give the guy his price? He goes, no, I don't want the guy to feel that he left anything on the table. I don't want him to feel that when he walked out the door and bought that car, that he could have gotten another buck or couldn't have gotten another $5. That's why I'll fight him sometimes when I know I have him hook, line, and sinker. I'll, $18.99 and 75 cents signed right here, including tax. There you go. And my dad would always do that to me. But I was like, Dad, why he's like, I want to make sure no penny on the table. And sure enough, his cars all went down the road. That was the most important part.
Well, one thing, and we'll probably talk about this, like I said, on the show when we end up doing it, is one expression that I always have heard and use is I can't be both the buyer and the seller. And that's what it does come down to. It's your stuff. If you're selling to me, it's your stuff. You have to know what you want on it. You have to throw a price out. Now I know one of the friends of our channel, Pure Hustle Podcast, they've done a lot of different things where they talk about never give the first price. Because they've read various books, and that's what they say. I kind of do it a little bit differently. If you and I are standing here staring at each other for 15 minutes and, hemming and hawing, and I'm buying it off you, what I'll literally say to you is, look, we got to start somewhere. I'll give you $1 for all of that. And then you get this look like, what? And I said, and you think that's outrageous. And you're going to come back at me at $10,000. And then I'm laughing.
I'm laughing, David, because my father used to say, we had people come on the lot and go, I want a price for that car. My dad would, because he knew the guy was just fishing. He'd be like, okay, he wants a price. Tell him $1 and come back, you know. And then, but boy, we started finding out what they. We're talking about. I'm talking about the trade-in. Okay, so like he wants, you know, he won't tell you what he wants for the trade-in. And my dad's like, tell him $1. You'll insult him, and he'll tell you his price right away.
Right.
That's why I was smiling. And all of a sudden, what? This car's worth $800. Oh, there we go. We got the price.
Exactly.
Reminds me of I don't know why I just thought of an old joke when I was doing this. One of the thrills of the channel, you hear lots and lots of old jokes. So guy comes in and to a butcher and says, how much is a chicken? And the guy goes, 40 cents a pound. 40 cents a pound? That's outrageous. It's a quarter a pound across the street. And the guy goes, well, why don't you buy it there? Well, he's all sold out. Oh, when I'm sold out, mine's 20 cents a pound.
So a question with buyers though too is, have you guys any cases with buyers going just too far where you're just like, okay, I want out of this deal. This thing is just too much work and it's just ridiculous. Do you have any stories like that you want to share?
Well, some are really rude. So then sometimes we have to get eBay involved. They're just, you know, I've had some stalk me and hound me and try to, like, you know, slur my name on the internet and stuff. So we've had to ban them and call eBay to step in and tell them, hey, cut it out. You're done. Don't contact them anymore. You know, it's over nonsense stuff, really. Just people looking to start things. But it doesn't happen very often. You just deal with it and move on, you know.
Okay.
I think my biggest pet peeve of buyers are the ones that have all sorts of special requests that they tell you about after they've made a very low offer.
Yeah.
And I had a gentleman on Amazon purchase some comics from me, 2 comic books. I think I was asking $3 a piece on them. So $6 for 2 comics. And I don't know if you've sold on Amazon before or not, but the way it works on some of our older listings is it will charge you shipping on each item. So he bought $3 plus $3.99, $3 plus $3.99. So it was $6.99, $6.99. He said, I just bought 2. You're going to ship them together. Refund me $3.99. Okay, fine. Really cuts down on any profit at all because it raised, you know, it cuts down with the fees and all that, but all right, fine. So I shipped them for $6 was what the comics were plus $3.99 shipping. So I didn't make anything at all on the shipping by the time he took the fees. And I really didn't make hardly anything on the deal.
Right.
He gets the comics and he sends me back an email. I was very disappointed. You put them both in the same bag. You didn't put backers on them. And I said, I couldn't afford to put backers on them. I was basically losing money as it was. I said, can I offer you a suggestion? Don't beat a seller down and then want free stuff, because I got to make a living and I can't sit there and, you know, and I don't know what the backers are, a dime a piece plus comic bags, probably a dime a piece at this point as well. So he wanted 30 cents worth of free stuff after beating me down on the shipping price on top of it all, and was upset that I didn't ship it that way. And I looked on the listing because the one problem, or one of the problems with Amazon, you had this happen to you where the one comic book was CGC graded, but you had no idea that it was.
Oh,
because people will change the main listing.
Oh, geez.
And so like he sold a comic book and then the person goes, this wasn't graded. Well, he listed it as regular. There was a picture of a regular comic, but somebody had written up in the main body area of the listing, CGC graded 9.6. So you got to always look at that too before you answer somebody on Amazon, because they might have read that and it might have said on there, come shipped with backer and bag. Well, I didn't put that in the listing. It was listed on the main listing. So I checked and neither of them said that. And then I had a leg to stand on that he was just asking for extra at that point.
Right. I was actually joking with you, I think a while ago too, that I think I bought all your records because you don't sell, you told me, Papergoy, you don't sell a lot of records. I think I bought your Badfinger and I bought your Caribou. Unfortunately, I gave them to a friend and then I traded them and got, I don't have those. I do have his because they're K-Tells and Roncos and stuff like that. But I just want to say, for the vinyl community's sake, who's ever watching this video, if I'm allowed to say this, I'll edit this out if you don't want me to, but Mr. Magazine, I dealt with him and he was great about what happened to me is like, I just give you an example. I found the After Hours record, but then I was going through his stuff and I'm like, hey, he's got this Ronco too. I want both. And so I then contacted his people and I said, you know, can you combine the shipping? We put them in the same box and it's going to the same place. And he was good about it and got me, and the refund came like that. I mean, I was like, it was like in my account instantaneously. So I do commend you.
Paperboy probably did it. How recent was it? 'Cause
For
Amazon changed the refunds now, and it's kind of a pain to do like partial refunds. So I have Paperboy do all that now.
one more question I want to ask. A few more couple. Then I'll show you something too, just for fun. So why you do Amazon, eBay? Why not Discogs or Etsy or iOffer? Or is it just that you don't want to spread yourself too thin, or what's why? I'm just
I think that's part of it. As it is now with the employees, we have enough inventory issues that like I said, we're good with eBay, Amazon, the website. We dabbled in Etsy recently because the whole eBay adult thing going on, but that doesn't seem like it's going to work out. But yeah, I just think it thins us out, gives us more room for error. The more things you're going to teach employees and stuff, it'll confuse them. Our code system. So if I do something like that, it probably wouldn't be till I have employees I can trust that can handle that. They're good where they are right now. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's, there's a little repair we could have, but that's about it right now. But yeah, I'm happy the way things are going.
See, and I've got a few things on Discogs, believe it or not, mainly cassettes. I don't really know that area very well, but I know that if I'm at a sale and you've got a giant box of cassettes and I can buy it for $2, I know that I'm going to make money on it. So I will pick up cassettes. Records are such a cutthroat business up here. There are the people that really, really know records, but a lot of them stay away from cassettes. So I will buy those and I will list those. I probably have 50 items listed on Discogs, something like that.
Do you want to send me your link? I'll put it below on this video. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah, no problem. But as far as Etsy goes, as I said on the live show, I think for the last 5 years, I've made it my goal to get started on Etsy, and it still hasn't happened. I keep looking at Etsy, and like for instance, I was looking at postcards, just to give an example, and I didn't see anybody selling individual postcards. What looked to be what everybody was doing is they were putting up 15 vintage original old postcards. And that seemed to be the way people were going about, maybe because of the fee structure. I'm not really sure why. But I don't want to do that. I would rather just list individual things. Same thing with comic books. I did a search on some comic books. Same thing came out, 15 original old comic books. Well, yeah, of course they're original. Would you put them in your basement? Of course they're original. So I've not found, just in quick searches on Etsy, I've not seen my niche on there. And do you sell on there?
No, I bought on the Etsy. I bought on. I think I bought on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Discogs, and iOffer.
My understanding,
iOffer was the worst.
My understanding, unless they've changed it, is you pay 20 cents upfront for 4 months. Well, that kind of cuts into the long tail stuff, because if I've got something on there that if I've got a postcard or something or other that I know can sell on eBay for $20 and it's going to sell quickly, and if it doesn't sell quickly, there's no additional charge to me. Why am I going to pay 20 cents for 4 months to list it on, to list it on Etsy? So I'm going to probably do kind of what I do on Amazon, which is where I put the lower price things. Yet if I'm paying 20 cents every 4 months, that eats any money I can make off of that as well. So that's kind of why I've stayed away from it. Just I've not seen where I would be able to do quick turnover on there.
Okay. Yeah, so just looking at the time, just real quick. Did you guys, if you're interested, I threw it out there in an email too, but I know you were prepping yesterday. I do want to invite you guys, if you want to spell K-Tel out of your collections. That'd be a lot of fun. I have a contest going on right now where I'm having people, I sent you a link of somebody where they show a K, a T, and it can be your baseball cards. It could be whatever. If you want to participate, that'd be awesome. And my idea is just to get out there and learn from people and not do that. The other part is that before I show you something really cool that I wanted to show Mr. Magazine for a while, this is your chance to plug yourself. So go ahead and say your stuff. And so I have a good video of when you're on, how you're on, when your live shows are. Your live shows are always during an appointment that I have, but I do listen to the car and almost get into accidents like I used to do with Howard Stern. So
that's good.
True story. Real quick. This woman, Rachel Mann, if you want to go out and look at my interview, she did a really good job of interviewing me, why I'm doing the channel. And it's a link to it on my channel. We were on a live show. And this one guy got in his car and had the video on. This guy, and he's driving, and he got pulled over while we're on the live show. It was maybe the best live show ever.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of years ago, and I forget what it was, but many, many years ago, I did actually send a joke off to Howard Stern through their email, and Fred read it on the air. So that was,
Awesome.
I heard that, and I go, yeah, that was my joke.
I have 62 gigs of Howard Stern on recording in my server over there. So yeah,
Nice.
I love him pre-FCC. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Baba
I
Booey.
mean,
US
pretty
Open.
serious. Now he's whatever, but it was better when he said like push that line all the time. That wasn't made it so funny, but
US Open sores and all that fun stuff. I watched the bootlegs on those and all that fun stuff.
exactly. So go ahead and plug yourself. This is what your opportunity. I want my people to hear about when you're on, how you're on, and I think hear more about you, your schedule. Go ahead and plug yourselves.
Sure. I'm Papergoy.
I'm Mr. Magazine.
And we're the $1 Million Peddlers. Basically selling on eBay and Amazon from two different perspectives. I'm the small guy with the day job working out of the house, and
I got 15 employees, 20,000 square foot warehouse, and 500,000 items.
So we have new studio shows every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and very, very occasionally may throw up a special video on a Monday. We have a live show 7:30 p.m. every Wednesday. And we call it the Hump Day Happy Hour. And at this point, we're kind of building it as the most interactive live show out there. Definitely, if you come by and you chat, we're going to answer your question right there. We're going to kind of go back and forth with you. I think the audience is really what drives that show without a doubt whatsoever. It's a lot of fun. We try to be accessible. And I think one of the things that makes the show so interesting is that we're both fairly successful selling on eBay and Amazon, but we do things completely differently. And we have very, very different ways of approaching it and very, very different ways of seeing it, which I think helps a lot of the smaller people out there, because I think that a lot of times they'll sit there and they'll look and they'll say, oh, I'm never going to be like, oh, and there's a lot of people out there that preach, this is the way that you do it. This is what you should do. And that's not right at all. There are some basics. You need to ship what you say you're going to ship and all that. But once you get the basics out of the way, there's 100 different ways to do it. And there's not a right way or a wrong way. I have free shipping. He charges on shipping, and so on and so on. So I think the biggest thing that you can take away from any of the resellers is, if you watch them on YouTube, you're not going to follow what any of us do totally, because it's not going to completely work. What he does with 15 employees, I can't possibly replicate.
Right.
But he can't possibly justify the cost for listing items the way that I list items, right, because I take such time researching and all that kind of thing. We both do well with the items that we have, but we know our strengths and we work into them. So I think anybody who watches the show, take something away from what we do, take something away from anybody else that you watch out there, but don't feel you need to follow exactly, because you will not succeed following exactly. You need to take bits and pieces from everybody.
I'd say from my standpoint, I enjoy your show a lot. I mean, the timing always doesn't work out the best for me, but that's my schedule. But I listen to it. I enjoy it. I'll plug it. I think it's a great show. You guys do a really good job. And it's, for me, I'll just say from my perspective, as I said at the beginning of the interview, it gave me that other side of the window. I never saw inside the window before. And that's what made just watching your show so awesome, and be like, hey, I've seen the guy that I'm buying this from. I'm seeing him, Kind of like if I go to my local record store and I see the guy and he knows who I am. Hey, JJ, They joke we have a chain here called Quick Trip, and they joke it's 2 blocks from my house, and they joke that I'm like Norm from Cheers over there. And then that's what it feels like, that I know you guys. It's like, Norm, you walk in. So well, that's great.
And not to be narcissistic, but I actually did. I watched a couple of our old shows, but not just because I want to sit there and stare at myself.
I do the same.
I watched one of them because somebody or other had made a comment, but they made one of those cryptic comments where they said, oh, and it was at the 1830 minute mark. And I'm like, yeah, like I memorized the 1839 minute mark of our videos. So I went back and watched around there to see what they were talking about. And I said, it actually is an entertaining show, because there are a lot of jokes in there that do just get dropped and moved on. But if you're paying attention, you kind of like, not that you get a belly laugh, but you get a giggle out of it. Like, hey, that was a joke that he just made there. Oh, okay. But we try to mix the jokes in along with the seriousness, because obviously these are serious topics we're talking about. but we're not the lecture kind, and we could never pull off the lecture kind. So we kind of share a lot of our experiences that we've had, and we put a spin on them. I mean, well, I'm going to plug a video right now, and I don't know if you enjoyed it or not, but the video where I pulled in the little piece of cardboard. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And I said, "What is this?" And he looks at it and that's one of the keys of the show. We do prep work, but we do very little prep work. In other words, I'll tell him, here's what the show is going to be about. And then we wing it. And everything is one take. That's just the way that it is. But, so I'm showing him this and he doesn't know what it is. And he's like, "What's a piece of cardboard?" Which is what it was. I said, "Why don't I tell you what it's not?" And that's, and then I threw it off to the side. And when we talked about,
you want to know that one vividly, as I actually watched it while I was waiting for a CT scan. I was at the hospital, and then because of COVID, in this room by myself, and I'm sitting there watching you, and I'm texting you comments at the same time while I was actually in a gown. That's how I remember that one vividly.
Thank goodness you didn't send us any pictures.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, "Drink your die." Okay.